You know how sometimes a single headline just explodes? That really happened recently with Mediclinic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, these reports came out about alleged job cuts, saying it was because of an AI revolution.
Wow, okay. Yeah, that'll get people talking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It sparked, well, pretty much what you'd expect: shock, some anger, definitely a lot of concern across South Africa.
Understandably. I mean, healthcare and AI replacing people, that touches a nerve, doesn't it? It makes you wonder about the future, about essential jobs.
For sure. But then almost immediately the story got, well, complicated.
How so?
Mediclinic put out a statement, basically pushed back hard. They flat out denied any sort of top-down order to replace staff with AI.
Okay. So what did they say was happening?
They called it a misunderstanding. Said it was about a restructure, which, sounds very different from an AI revolution.
Right, restructure versus robot takeover, two very different narratives.
Precisely. So that's the big question we're trying to unpack here. Is this corporate spin just trying to manage the fallout? Or was the initial story maybe misrepresenting a genuine effort to modernize things?
And that's what we're digging into today. We're looking at a news segment from the News RX that laid out these conflicting sides. Our goal is really just to cut through the noise a bit.
Try and figure out what these headlines actually mean for people on the ground.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's break down those first headlines. Mediclinic cuts jobs amid AI revolution. Pretty dramatic language.
It is. It paints a picture of this huge, maybe sudden change, like South African healthcare suddenly becoming a test bed for Silicon Valley ideas, as the report put it.
And the public reaction seemed to match that framing. You saw real shock, worry about jobs, this kind of unease about AI moving into such a critical area.
Well, it taps into existing anxieties, right? People are already worried about automation, about jobs disappearing, so that phrase AI revolution really lands. It sounds big, maybe disruptive.
Yeah, it's loaded. But then Mediclinic's counter-narrative, they were very clear. No directive to replace humans with AI. That's pretty unambiguous.
A direct denial.
Right. And they use those softer words. Misunderstanding, restructure. It almost feels like them saying, whoa, hang on, it's not what you think. So you're stuck with this core tension. Is it careful PR to cushion the blow of some big changes? Or was there a genuine mix-up in how this was initially reported or understood?
That's the puzzle. And to get a clearer picture, we need to look at what role AI is actually playing here, or what they say it's playing.
Okay.
I mean, AI in healthcare isn't exactly new, is it? We see it popping up globally, helping with scheduling, diagnostics, pharmacy stuff, even managing doctors' inboxes.
Absolutely, it's already part of the landscape. And Mediclinic themselves confirmed they are using AI, they have a strategy for it.
Right, but they're stressing it's for non-clinical operations.
Okay, what does that mean exactly?
Yeah.
Like back office stuff?
Yeah, think admin tasks, finance, billing, maybe some support services, things that don't involve direct patient care.
Gotcha.
And here's the crucial bit. Reports suggest these non-clinical areas are exactly where the job cuts or changes are happening.
Okay, so that's the conflict. Mediclinic says no one's being replaced by AI, but jobs are being cut in the areas where AI is being introduced.
Precisely. So critics look at that and say, well, hang on, you've got job cuts, you've got hiring freezes in admin and support, where AI is being brought in. It makes the no one replaced by AI statement harder to swallow for some.
Yeah, you can see why people are questioning it. If AI isn't the direct cause, what is driving those specific cuts?
Which leads us to the why, the motivations.
Right. Mediclinic's official line talks about efficiency and sustainability, making things run smoother, basically.
Their argument is that using AI for these background tasks will ultimately free up human workers, let them focus more on patient care, making the whole system better in the long run. Enhance, not replace, that's their key phrase.
Enhance, not replace. Okay.
That's the official position, optimizing processes. But, as that news report highlighted, there's definitely skepticism.
Yeah, the report mentioned that comment about the admin team getting redundancy letters while being told AI isn't replacing anyone. That does sound awkward, to say the least.
It highlights the disconnect, doesn't it? How do you reconcile those two things? It's tough.
And what about the wider industry? Are others looking at this?
Well, there's speculation. Some insiders apparently think this could be the start of a bigger trend, automating those more routine, entry-level admin jobs.
Across healthcare generally.
Yeah, potentially. And the concern raised is about transparency. Is this kind of shift happening quietly without much public discussion?
That's interesting, this potential ripple effect.
It's a valid concern. Automating admin isn't unique to healthcare, obviously. We see it everywhere. But the key thing here is communication. If changes aren't communicated clearly, trust erodes fast.
Which seems to be exactly what happened here, judging by the public reaction. The report mentioned online comments. People just weren't buying it.
Yeah, things like, how do you restructure AD freeze hiring without replacing people with something else? You know, that kind of basic logic question.
And calling it corporate gaslighting, that's pretty strong language. It suggests people feel they're being misled.
It really captures that feeling of doubt. People see actions that seem to contradict the words, and they get suspicious, especially when jobs are involved.
True. But there is another side to this, right? The report also mentioned arguments for AI.
Yes, absolutely. The potential benefits. Things like reducing costs, maybe cutting down on human error in repetitive tasks, which could indirectly improve patient care down the line.
So some people are saying, look, this technology has potential, it's worth exploring. Maybe we shouldn't just dismiss it out of fear.
And that's a critical point. AI can bring efficiencies, improvements. The real question is how it's implemented. What are the trade-offs? What happens to the people?
So it brings us back to that core dilemma. Is AI the villain here, or are we just naturally afraid of big changes, especially when they involve technology we don't fully understand yet?
Yeah, it forces you to confront that tension.
And this whole Mediclinic situation, it feels bigger than just one company, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It raises broader questions for South Africa.
Definitely. What does AI mean for workers beyond healthcare? If it's happening here, could we see similar moves in banking, retail, even government services?
It seems likely, or at least possible. Which makes you wonder, should there be rules, safeguards, policies in place before automation becomes widespread in essential sectors?
That's a huge question. How do you balance progress and efficiency with protecting jobs and ensuring a fair transition for people whose roles might change or disappear?
And are we, like the public, being slowly prepped for a future that hasn't really been openly debated? Are these no directive statements a way to make changes gradually without causing too much fuss?
That's a really sharp observation. The way these things are communicated or not communicated is crucial. A lack of transparency just breeds anxiety and speculation, like we're seeing now.
Yeah, well, it makes you wonder about future announcements. You know, will they be upfront, or will we get more carefully worded press releases?
It really comes down to what kind of future we want, doesn't it, regarding tech and jobs?
So, wrapping this up, we kind of want to leave listeners thinking about those core questions. Do you believe Mediclinic's explanation? Does it sound genuine or more like PR?
And thinking bigger, is AI ultimately going to be good or bad for livelihoods here in healthcare and elsewhere?
Yeah, consider those ripple effects. If it's happening at Mediclinic, where else might we see it? Banking, retail? Who knows?
And maybe the biggest question is, what kind of future do we want? How do we make sure these huge technological shifts happen transparently with open discussion about the impact on real people? That seems key.